everybody. How are you? It's a little late over here right now, but Neo Tarot posted a new reading on Foodie Beauty earlier, and I just spent some time talking to a friend, and now I'm getting around to the react to Neo Tarot. So Neo did a great reading on Foodie. There was some very interesting information, and I want to give my thoughts on the reading. So what are the thoughts before the reading starts? Well, as you guys know, I do readings on Foodie Beauty. Neo does readings on Foodie, and she's also done readings on Salah and even stuff on Natter. And I do recommend that anybody watching this tarot react to check out Neo Tarot and all of her readings, because not only does she do readings on Foodie and Salah, but also actors, actresses, places even. I think that she does really great readings on a variety of different things and people. And you can look down below in the description for a link for the video, which leads to her channel. You can check out all of her wonderful content. And she also does private paid readings as well. The thoughts on the reading. You know, Neo, when you and I read on Chantal, we pull a lot of the same cards over and over again. They're very, very similar. And the messages that come in, they pretty much stay the same. And why is that? It's because Chantal, she doesn't change when she should change. Nothing in her world really changes. The download is coming in for her, but yet she keeps blocking it. Spirit is saying to her, you need to change. You need to change things about yourself. You need to change things about your world, yet you're not changing. So like it's the same environment, the same factors, the same everything. So the same messages will keep coming in over and over and over again. And the same cards might come up over and over again because it's the same situation, like same song, same lyrics. And it's time to change the record. Spirit is trying so hard to get through to her, and she just doesn't want to hear it. She's not willing to hear it. She's not willing to change. And so it's like Spirit is saying, well, what can we do? We can only work with somebody who's willing to put in the work, who's willing to change themselves. We're trying, we're doing our part, but they're not doing their part. So everything is pretty much at an impasse. Like everything is just kind of at a standstill, and it's not Spirit's fault. And it's not the fault of those who are, giving the download, and she is just simply blocking it. She's sending all the messages to the spam folder where they do not belong. So what can you do in a situation like Foodie? But it doesn't change the fact, Neo, that you did a great reading on Foodie. Always you do great readings on Foodie. Always you basically read her like a book. And I do appreciate that. So we're going to get into the reading courtesy of the lovely Neo Tarot. And let's see what Neo has to say. And I can give my thoughts as well. So we're just going to pull it on up. And here we go. Let me just make sure I am where I need to be. I am. Oops. Hold on. There we go. That's perfect. All right. Like, should I blow this up? I think I should blow this up so you guys can see the cards better. Okay. Here we go. And I hope you guys enjoy this as much as I do.
Hey y'all, hey, let's get into this reading for Foodie Beauty. It's been a minute. How are we? This reading is alleged and for entertainment purposes. Sometimes the tea is hot, sometimes it's not. You have to watch the video to the end to determine for yourself. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're always here, welcome back, friend. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so let's just get right into it. Spirit is acknowledging that there is a swirl of communication around all this sacral energy, very emotional as well, but as sweet as a Georgia peach. So I'm not sure what the connection connection to Georgia is, but there's this energy in her energy field of kindness, tender care, charm, beauty, flirtation, and a delicious experience. And I feel like this energy was resonating or is resonating from the last time I read on her. Very sexual, sacral energy is coming through. Spirit is also acknowledging that this energy is adding a layer to the cake. So in this energy, she's seeking accomplishment, triumph, self-esteem, confidence, talent, accolades, and fame with just something I threw together. So it's adding a layer to the cake for her. Spirit is also acknowledging that in the middle of the deck, what we can't see is this all the solar plexus energy that she has to do what she wants to do, is the fire in the belly to live how she chooses. That's her business, right? But this is in regards to passion, be that passion for a career, passion like a romance, and it's hurting her. It's to her detriment and her to her demise because she's trying to stand tall in the midst of this water, and it's rocky. It's it's throwing her off, okay, for lack of better words. And so Spirit is acknowledging that this is emotional and or could be attached to a water sign, but don't get your feathers ruffled. Spirit's like, calm the hell down. Like, for real, relax.
You know what, Neil? That could go in any number of ways. And so I'm wondering if, like the sweet as a Georgia peach energy that you're speaking about, like Chantal does a certain kind of content on YouTube, and she's clearly catering to a certain kind of audience. And the audience that she's looking for, the audience that she is seeking out, has to do with people who have a food fetish, extreme food fetish. She caters really hard to those people. I think a few of them, perhaps more than a few, have gotten in her ear and convinced her that catering to that fetish, that is like the perfect life for her. They certainly give her money, and money has always been a big motivator to Chantal. And she may look at making money that way as a sense of accomplishment, when really, as you said, it's to her detriment, because by doing that kind of content on YouTube, she is hurting her body. She's making herself sick. And she knows she is. She just doesn't care. So maybe the sweet as a Georgia peach, well, Chantal, she's into the sweet. Excuse me. She's into the sweet. She's into the sugar. Uh, she can't do without her sugar. So always looking for the sweet, the sweet, the sweet, uh, uh, all of that. And another layer to the cake. Well, she likes cake. She definitely likes cake. So could this, between the peach and the cake, could this be her being involved with that, like pointing in that direction of things centered around food? It kind of feels like it, because I'm looking at the placement of the cards right now. You've got the cake on one side, you've got the peach on the other, you've got the flamingo in the middle. uh, could this be her catering to that certain kind of audience to her detriment? And yet, because she's making money and she's getting praise from those people and encouragement, she thinks she's on top of the world when she's really, really not.
Take some deep breaths. She's dealing with anxiety and depression. She's dealing with some other medical issues as well. And she needs to focus on her well-being. She needs to take some deep breaths and take a step back and look at the overall picture. Hey. Thank you, Spirit. Step back and take a look at the overall picture. She is acting very naive and very gullible around this energy. She's acting like she's very inexperienced. And this kind of makes me feel like it is affecting the heart chakra and the third chakra, but it makes me feel like this is her way of not really being held accountable, because I didn't know. All right, let's get into it when it comes to, okay, a foodie beauty. There's this energy of her being in a short-term relationship, and this is because of a rebound. This relationship was a rebound.
Didn't I tell y'all? Haven't I said it? When it comes to her and Salah, haven't I not said that this whole thing with her and Salah, it was basically a rebound situation? I know I've said that in my reacts. And here is Neo Tarot basically, the cards are confirming it. She was with Natter. She wanted Natter. She tried everything in the world to be with Natter, to essentially possess Natter, control Natter. Nothing she did worked. She tried to seduce him with the money. She tried to control him with the money, make him codependent on her and her money. She integrated herself into his life as much as she could. She did say long ago about somebody else, I just have to get into his house. Well, that got upgraded to, I just have to get into his life. So she did everything she could to attach herself to Natter and also get him attached to her, and it didn't work. And Chantal is a bit of a sore loser. She doesn't like to lose. She doesn't admit to losing. She, like if she loses something, it's a blow to her ego. It's not a situation where she just thinks, okay, this is not meant for me, and moves on. She just can't accept the life lesson of not everything is meant for me. Not everyone is meant for me. I'm just going to just take this and keep it pushing. No, in every story, a narcissist will either be the hero or the victim, sometimes both simultaneously. So she couldn't have Natter. And I've always said this thing with Salah has always been a combination, I feel, of a get back and also get you back. It was dual purpose. Like she purposely chose Salah as a get back at you kind of thing, because she was saying to Natter, I found somebody younger and more attractive than you. And also maybe to create a sense of urgency of, you better come after me. You better come after me because I'm about to give somebody everything that I gave you. You know what I can do. Like, I'm going to give him all my money and I'm going to build up his channel. The things that I once did with you. So maybe in a sense, trying to implore him to be with her or run after her, and he never did. So if that was part of the plan, it did not go as planned. But she didn't abandon the whole thing with Salah, because in front of YouTube, in front of Girl World, she had already started this whole arc thing with Salah publicly. So to save face, she had to keep up with it. And that led her all the way to Kuwait and over 2 years of misery. And even though she is miserable, again, to save face, to save her pride, she's going to keep up with it. But Salah has always been a rebound. Natter was the one that she wanted but could not have. And Salah was the one that she settled for. And when it comes to life, anything you settle for, you're never going to be 100% happy with. You're just not. Settling for something means it wasn't something of your first choosing. So you're never going to be content with it. Not completely. And inside, you're going to know that, and it's going to make you miserable.
It was a fast, sudden kind of hookup.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. Because she went from Natter to Salah immediately. Chantal does not know how to be alone. She doesn't want to be alone. Part of her self-worth is giving the appearance that men want her, men desire her, surrounding herself with men. Like she doesn't want to be alone. For some reason, she looks at being alone and being single as something shameful, when it's okay to be alone. If you've got issues, if you've got to work on yourself, there's nothing wrong with being alone. You're saying, hey, I'm under construction. I don't have the energy to be in a relationship. And I know that. So I'm going to be mature and intelligent and just work on myself. So when I want to be in a relationship, I can be the best me I can be. And I can radiate that energy and probably get the best result without falling into yet another bad relationship. But again, part of her pride is she's always got to have somebody around. And if it means paying someone to be there to act as her partner, that's exactly what she's going to do. And that's exactly what she did.
As she was grieving another breakup.
Yep.
And Spirit is acknowledging that right now in this relationship, she is dealing with suffocation. She's needy and making one wait. So it's this game that they like to play, accepting one's bad behavior. And it's filled with toxicity and insecurity with would you accept in reverse. And in the middle of the deck, someone, and I get this every time I read on her. Someone's cheating. Someone has ulterior motives, breaking her heart. They're criminal and they're stealing. It's like I get this all the time when I pick up on her and Salah. But her in general, okay? Yeah, see, we got a happiness hater. So while you're kissing this one, someone else is looking like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And this is a very layered energy because it feels like the energy is directed to her, but the energy is also directed to Salah, her romantic
Ooh.
partner. And there's also this energy of cock blocking, and I feel like that came up before, cock blocking. But there's also this energy of giving money. Hey. Thank you, Spirit. So it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack in that you have happiness haters as clearly as a third party on both ends, allegedly energetically. I'm picking up on that. Someone is even being a cock blocker. And again, this is on both sides because it feels like the minute someone wants to move on, the other person becomes, an antagonist to their story.
See that's this happened with Natter. Okay. I think Chantal, when it comes to men, she wants an open door. She wants that door open. And she will use whatever means necessary to get it to open. And because she does not have a lot of positive attributes to make the door open, she will use money as the key, the money seduction, because that's what she had in her corner for a long time. The problem with what she's doing is she starts off with something, with somebody. Spirit was talking to me earlier, and I can't remember the message now. I should have done the video right when it was coming in. But the machine of marriage and relationship is very different than the machine of business. Like they're built differently and they serve different purposes, right? And they each have different parts. The problem with Chantal is that she will try to switch out parts and put them on different machines where they do not belong. In other words, she'll go to somebody and say, we're going to have this deal and it's all business. And the person says, okay, I'm on board because it's business. It's a business transaction. It's a business deal. And they'll be okay with it. They'll go along with it. But then while they're not looking, she'll try to sneak over to the love machine, take some parts off, tiptoe on over to the business machine and try to install those love parts where they don't belong, where they're not going to work. Trying to turn something that is financial and business oriented into something emotional, and you just can't do that. It's just not going to work. She should have learned her lesson with Natter the first time. But because she did not, Now she's doomed to repeat the same lesson with Salah. Like she honestly thinks at some point she's going to run into a guy that she can just open the door with, let's do business together. And if she keeps him around long enough and she pays for enough things, if she pays the rent long enough, if she pays the bills long enough, that at some point he will become emotionally invested and attached to her. And it just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. I think both Salah and Foodie, like they got their minds and their hearts on other people. They both do. I'm going to stand on this. I think that she is still talking to Nader, that there's a part of her at least that is attached to Nader because she could fully be herself with him. And Salah, he's got his deal in his own corner. Yet Chantal is the kind of person that, even though I think part of her realizes it's just business, she's the type of person that she wants everything. Like earlier, I kept hearing a song in my head, a song by the group Queen. The lyrics, I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. And I want it now. You know, like it kept playing over and over in my head. She wants everything. She wants Nader. She wants Salah. She wants to make money. She wants both men to be in love with her. She wants everything. But the problem is, neither man really wants you. Neither man is really in love with you. And not everything in life is meant for you. And if you're around places, people, situations, and you are miserable, that's a sign that those things, people, situations are not good for you and they're not meant for you. And you should just take that and keep it pushing. But she ignores that time and time again.
Uh, whatever. And Spirit is acknowledging that there's also this exchange of money to maintain this storyline. Okay. And I picked up on that energy before that
Yeah.
this feels like a story, feels like an author. Okay.
Yep.
Spirit said, stay in your lane.
Ooh.
Okay. All right. But Foodie Beauty, current energy. We get empath. Is she a water sign? Not sure. But in this energy, Spirit is acknowledging could be a water sign and or could be emotional. Are you an empath or are you hyper vigilant because of all of the trauma you endured? Time to find a balance for those hyperextended emotions. Give your nervous system a break right now. You can do so by clearing out those emotions that are not yours to process. Say it with me. I release all that is not mine to carry and return all that which is not my responsibility to hold. And I've picked up this energy before that she's dealing with trauma. Well, she's dealing with unhealed trauma. And so, hurt people, as they
Yeah.
say.
True.
Okay, when it comes to her relationship energy, let's just tap in. Foodie and Salah. Foodie and Salah. Thank you. There's this energy of commitment, but then there's this energy of decisions and choices around this commitment. What do I want? Love, money, travel, a home. Okay. And in the middle of the deck, there is this energy of what we can't see, that someone is having a physical embrace that feels and or fulfills the heart chakra. And this is something that we can't see. Again, it makes you feel like someone is embracing someone else in this relationship. Okay. Please clarify embrace.
When I saw this card pop up, Neo, I was like, and I oop. The bride card. What's interesting about the bride card is there's been whispers and rumors for a while that Salah does have a wife, that there is a Mrs. Salah Although I don't know why a Mrs. Salah would be okay with the whole situation with Chantal. Maybe because Chantal is giving financial benefit that might benefit her and Salah, but at the same time, I just can't see why Chantal would be okay with another woman because she's far too jealous and insecure. Like, the, it too many layers of this cake. This is crazy.
Now this is interesting because this embraces with the real bride. Even though there's a commitment here, don't say marriage, it says commitment. And this commitment came with decisions and choices to have these things. In the middle of the deck, what we can't see is this embrace with the actual bride.
And I oop again. I'm wondering if the decisions and choices have to do with. I know this reading's on Foodie. Could it be because, like Salah, like maybe they talked it out, worked it out, all of them worked it out, what the agreement was about where the boundaries were, and it was just a business thing. I don't know. The whole thing is just weird.
So my question is, who is the bride? Clearly. But is it
Hey.
I know, spirit.
I would be very interested to know what the cards would say on the potential Mrs. Salah. Like, what if there is a business arrangement between all three, with all the things that have happened, with all the trouble that Chantal has brought to Kuwait with her? If there's a Mrs. Salah, why is she okay with this ongoing as long as it's gone on? Because it's been 2 years and Chantal's getting far, 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 far worse. I would just be very interested to know if there is a Mrs. Salah, like what's keeping this going, and how does she feel?
That's where the ring is.
Oof.
That's where the real commitment is. This is where the ring and the engagement is with the real bride. Now, I've picked up on before that Salah could definitely have someone else, and there was another female energy moving in. This is where the real commitment lies. This is where the real marriage lies. This is where the bride is. Thank you, Spirit. She needs, but in all actuality, it feels like they're playing each other. So I don't know how much of this matters to say out loud. Spirit is acknowledging because it's not like she would be dumbfounded. Like she would
Right.
be like, right? I know, right?
Like how could she not know? Like Chantal's very, very controlling. If you're a man that you're around, Foodie, and she's hyper fixated on you, she wants to know where you are, how you are, what you're doing every second of the day. She's not going to let you alone. And the only way she's going to let you alone is if you have another woman in the picture. When she was with Natter, like she was all over him like a rash. And the only time he got any peace was when he had another woman over. Then she was kind of forced to give him some peace. As a matter of fact, Natter had to move all the way to Montreal from Ottawa to get away from Chantal, and even that didn't work. So, if there is a Mrs. Salah, I mean, if it was a situationship of Salah is married or with somebody or engaged, if that is really a thing, uh, and it's just a business arrangement between he and Chantal, Chantal knows the boundaries. It's not going to stop her from getting emotionally attached or wanting something emotional from him. Chantal's the type that she will close her eyes and kind of ignore that, or talk herself up inside of like, despite what's going on, maybe I can get him. I don't know. But if there's another woman in the picture already, Chantal, with a ring on her finger, like the game is already over.
Okay. What is Foodie Beauty's current energy? We get alignment in reverse, so she is not in alignment.
Nope.
222 is significant. 6 is significant. Priorities out of whack, neglecting your spiritual needs, refusing to allow ideas to grow and evolve, lack of flexibility. And there's a layered message with that. Lack of flexibility. Current energy for Foodie. Thank you. Spirit is acknowledging with the King of Pentacles. There's this energy of her in reverse, being authoritative, domineering, and controlling.
Yep.
What's her biggest obstacle? Thank you. Every biggest obstacle in reverse. So the 5 of Wands in reverse. Conflict avoidance is an obstacle. Conflict avoidance is an obstacle.
Hey.
Thank you. Increased focus on goals is an obstacle. What is her current energy with Salah? She is trying to find balance through moderation, patience, purpose. There's a meaning for this balance, though. There's a reason that she's trying to find balance. She's acknowledging ups and downs in the background on the heart of it, wanting peace. I do see this water here, acknowledging that it is emotional and or could be a water sign. But subconsciously, she's trying to get balance because there's misalignment of values, a broken home and or a marriage, with the 10 of Cups creating a lot of emotion. And in the middle of the deck, she's just trying to make sure that the coin is pursued. Like, I'm just trying to get this coin for real, in the middle of the deck. Acknowledging that this is where her sacral energy is, her solar plexus energy is. This is what makes her heart feel full, and this is what makes her feel grounded. Acknowledging that it does bring ups and downs, but she's really focused on wealth and feeling established and focusing on her future when it comes to money. Like, to hell with that. I know the shit is on fire. I set it on fire. I'm trying to get it back. I'm trying to get this coin. Okay. Spirit said something else in the middle of the deck. And Spirit said it because your pursuit has negative energy on it, and it's not you're not moving in your true authentic self and or your purpose. Whatever you gain, you lose. It's like it slips right through your fingertips. Look at this. There's no energy of reciprocity. There's no give and receive. Okay. And so there's an energy of debt, selfishness, and a one-sided charity. So you'll never be on the receiving end. You'll never feel full. You'll never feel full.
You know what, Neo? I'm really glad you said that. And you're right. You know, Chantal, her way of doing things, the way that she's been doing things for a long time, is one step forward, 2 steps back. And you are correct. Money is paramount to her. It's the only thing she looks at. It's the only thing she considers. Because truly, money is the one domino that is holding up the rest of the dominoes. You feel me? Just, if that one domino disappears, like, they're all going to fall down. Without money, she wouldn't be able to have Salah around her. She wouldn't be able to live where she lives. She would not be able to eat the amount of food that she eats. And the way that she's making money, unfortunately, is she's a food addict. There's no other way to say it. She's a food addict. Food is her drug, and she is doing far too much, which is causing tremendous harm to her body. She's making herself more and more increasingly sick. She makes money by eating like thousands and thousands of calories a day, which is causing her to gain weight, which is causing more health problems. So it's like a negative domino effect. The dominoes aren't standing up, they're all falling over. You know, she makes whatever money from catering to the certain kinds of people that have the food fetish, but the price that she's paying is her health is decaying. And yet, because she makes a little bit of money, she's like, oh, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. No, you're not. No, you're not. But regarding that last part you just said about she'll never feel full, I think that's important. See, this is where Chantal gets it wrong. The emptiness that she feels inside, it's not her stomach. She feels that spiritual emptiness. She feels that emotional emptiness, that void, if you will. She feels it. It gnaws at her. And yet, to make it shut up, to escape from it, to run from it, she eats food. And where she's getting it wrong is you're using the wrong medicine for the wrong problem, you know? It's like having a headache and putting something on your knee, you know, like a muscle relaxer. You know, it's like, you know, your head hurts and you're going to put something on your knee. Her spirit is empty of purpose, of meaning. How you fill up that emptiness is not with food. It's by living in truth, seeking out purpose, discovering who you are, enlightening yourself, moving forward, moving higher, listening to your higher self. That is how you correct the imbalance. That is how you fill the void. You've got to fill up your soul, not your stomach. She knows this, I think, but she doesn't want to deal with it. She doesn't want to face it. Because to face herself at this point would be overwhelming. If she had to face all the lies she has told, all the awful things she's done, it would be too much for her. Like, as weird as it may sound, I think that she is fragile. She doesn't want to admit how fragile she is. I think that if she lost Salah and she could no longer live in Kuwait, and if Nader disappeared, it might cause a bit of a mental break because she would be on her own. Her ego would be in pieces and she wouldn't know how to cope, honestly. But you're right. Like she's living in debt. Like the money she makes, it's going all over the place rather than places where it needs to go. And she's acting like a termite where she's eating and she's eating and she's eating and she's never full. She's never full. She's never full. There's always a sense of hunger. Like she's hungry for something. But the hunger that she feels is not for food. It's just like the spirit is hungry. It's starving to death. And it's saying, fill me up. And yet she won't. She will not. She's not understanding that the hunger that she feels is not related to food at all.
Because it ain't right. What's next for Foodie Beauty? This is energy of the Knight of Wands, her being very energetic in pursuit of lust, action, adventure, very impulsive, passion even. With the Queen of Wands in reverse, she's very demanding and aggressive. Coming off shy even. And in the middle of the deck with the Five of Swords in reverse, this is going to teach her something because she's going to be open to change. But she's still going to be holding on to past resentments. Things are just not working. It feels like things are just not working.
Spirit is telling me right now she's getting in her own way. She gets in her own way. Over and over again, getting in her own way.
It's not going her way. And she's getting ready to have a tantrum, a very large adult tantrum. Spirit says a very large adult tantrum. It's hard for her to balance things right now. It's hard for her to juggle and bring balance to work-life balance, but also partnerships, also finances. This is a challenge. It's very emotional for her right now.
You know, the thing is, Neil, if you're looking for balance in life, it's hard to find balance if you're completely imbalanced. You know, like there's got to be a commitment to balance. She's not committed to balance. and being fair and acknowledging all sides. Foodie only acknowledges her side. Her side is the one that matters. It's the only thing that matters. Like there's two sides to a heart, but yet she only acknowledges her side. The other side, like, who cares? She wants love, so she says. But love comes from a heart. A heart has two sides. They work together, they beat together, they make up the whole, but she's not interested in the whole. She's interested in her half. But she's completely off kilter. And yet she's not looking at herself and saying, why is my life so messed up? Why am I so out of balance here? Let's fix this. Let's take some soul inventory. Let's take some stock and see what's here, what isn't here, what I'm missing, and what I need to get.
And it's causing her to try to figure out how to prioritize things, but she doesn't have that spirit. It's like she doesn't have that capability. It's an inability. Okay. Will she be leaving Kuwait? Spirit keeps asking me, will she be leaving Kuwait? Thank you. All right. Spirit says maybe. There's this higher intuitive energy that she knows intuitively, like this is definitely a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like she's fighting it.
Yep.
She feels like she's trying to tap in to her higher intuitive powers. Thank you, Spirit, in her subconscious mind. But yeah, maybe. Spirit is also acknowledging, yes, subconsciously, but she's trying to have faith. She's trying to have hope. She's tapping into her spirituality. She's using it as inspiration to have what she wants, which it feels like to stay. But Spirit is acknowledging, like, she knows, baby, that the clock is ticking on this clock, okay? And it makes her emotional, and there could be a water sign involved. In the middle of the deck, Spirit says, again, what we can't see, maybe. Because, and you know what? Let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
This is so interesting because both of these are major arcana, and then I'm like, maybe in a few weeks. Boats equal direction for me. I do see a boat. I do see these swords, air sign energy, trying to get organized. I do see this solar plexus energy, feeling very empowered to make a choice, but the choice is to leave. Regretful, but a necessary transition.
Well, I've said it before. If Chantal leaves Kuwait, it's not going to be because she looks at Salah and says, you know what? We're not happy being in each other's company, and financially speaking, staying here makes no sense, even though I'm going to eat crap with Girl World for probably the next 6 months or a year or longer. I've got to go back. I got to go back. It's not going to go down like that. She looks at Salah as a possession, like an object. He belongs to her. That's how she looks at it. Like, I paid for him. I've hung out with him. We've had some times together, whatever. So in essence, she owns him, or that's how she feels. And whatever Chantal owns, she doesn't let go of, not willingly. I've always said if she leaves Kuwait, it's going to be virtually kicking and screaming. It's going to be a situation of she has no choice. Like, she can't argue against whatever it is that's pushing her out, forcing her out. She's going to have no choice. I don't know if the forcing out has to do with the Kuwait government. I know there's some conflict going over there in the Middle East. Maybe that might be a factor at some point. It could be any number of things. But it's not going to be a willing thing. It's going to be I have no choice and I have to go. I just have to go. And Chantal, I don't know why you'd want to stay over in the Middle East anyway, other than the fact that maybe you know that if you go home to Canada, you really have nowhere to go, and maybe that's why you've stayed so long. But why stay somewhere where you're losing money and you're miserable? And staying with a man that obviously he does not desire you. He desires everything but you. Uh, just it's time to go. You know, you've seen the road signs for the longest. You've known all along that this trip to the Middle East was really not where you belong. This is not a place for you to permanently land and call home. He is not your actual partner. You've been playing house with Salah, and it's time to bring it to a close. Like, the whole thing is stupid. It's ridiculous. It's Spirit is saying there's a reason why you're feeling all this pain and all this misery. It's to show you this is not for you. This is not your life. This is not what's good for you. It's time to let it go now.
Leaving even though you don't want to,
Right.
leaving for calmer waters, emotional, and or could be a water sign, almost like a rites of passage. And I don't know why Spirit is drawing me to read one more on this card. Please clarify. The Six of Swords, Foodie Beauty leaving Kuwait. Yeah. Spirit says she's got on a tinfoil hat. It's like she's listening to something, trying to get messages, but really not aware of what the hell it is, trying to get in alignment, getting some form of download, also trying to tap into the all-seeing eye. But Spirit is acknowledging, don't believe everything you think. Conspiracy theories are just that, theories. Does the situation at hand reflect reality? Do you have all the facts available to you,
Mm-hmm.
or just the ones that make your life easier? This reading is alleged and for entertainment purposes. Now we sit back and let the universe do what the universe does.
Really great reading, Neo, and thank you for posting it. Really interesting. So, like, what I've taken from the reading is, the situation is pretty much the same with Salah, with Chantal. They both have their minds and their hearts on other people. It sounds like Salah has something more serious going on in the background. But to be fair, it feels like all along they both have been focused facing away from each other versus toward each other, because they're partner wise they're not soulmates. They're not meant to be in a romantic relationship. It's just a business thing. Unfortunately, like I said, Chantal, she's running around trying to take parts off of one machine and put it on another machine and just trying to make it work, and it's not working. And yet she doesn't want to acknowledge that it's not working, and she's just sticking with it just because she's stubborn, and she's trying to put off this image of everything's fine, we have a marriage, blah blah blah. So yeah. Chantal, it's time to come home, baby girl. It's just time. Okay? Like, nobody's buying the marriage. The two of you aren't really married. It's a story arc. It's a story that sucks. It's time to let it go. It's really time to let it go. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this react. If you have, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.